Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success, and in our current climate, maximize safety while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. On today's episode of Tent Talk, we're wishing you a happy, or at least significantly less weird, New Year, sharing some important conference updates, and talking a little bit about what's coming up in 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I've spent years as an on-site farmers market manager, and I'm the education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active farmers market manager, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of the Farmers Market Pros Community and Intense, the Farmers Market Conference.
And I'm Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer, marketing director for Farmers Market Pros, and logistics coordinator for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference 2021.
But you forgot info booth lady at local markets.
And face mask sewist.
That's right, sewist. So about the conference. We think Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, will be even more important in this year when all of us have experienced so much change, and what's next still isn't exactly clear. So to be sure that we bring you the conference that's everything we know it can be, we've rescheduled. The 5th annual Intense, the Farmers Market Conference will be taking place live online March 15th through 18th, exactly 1 month later than originally scheduled. For us, 2020 got to be a little extra 2020 in the fourth quarter. We're a family business, as we know many of you are, and a serious family matter had to take precedence in those last few months. So after careful consideration and consulting with speakers, sponsors, and our friends at Farmers Market Coalition, we've postponed.
Because that's a very 2020 thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing else in your life has been postponed this last year,
It's
right?
on theme.
Yeah, it's on theme. We're
I think so
brand.
too. Yeah, this is actually a plan.
Yes.
Nothing else has changed, though. We'll still be providing high-quality content to help you make your farmers market business less stressful and more profitable, even in these flexible times.
Flexible times.
The only difference will be that we'll be coming to you live online March 15th through 18th instead of February.
Yep, and on the bright side, because we're always looking for those positive silver linings wherever we can, we've extended early bird pricing to the end of January. So for those of you who are waiting to register to include it in your 2021 budget, pause this episode, do that now. We've helped you out a little bit, and it's going through the end of January.
Actually, they would have to pause until next week.
Yes.
To get into that 2021 budget. So pause, go to your calendar, make a note that you can still register at early bird pricing in this coming week.
Get those calendars out. Well, since we're making everyone wait an extra month, can we at least share some sneak peeks of what's on stage, or I guess on screen, that is, this year?
On stage, coming to you on screen. It's going to be interesting. We have kind of an exciting platform that we're working with, so it won't be your average Zoom with people in little boxes exactly. We'll still have a lot of ways to interact with one another, because I know that's a big part of the conference.
For sure.
We'll have the first conference schedule online sometime in the next 2 weeks. So expect to see sessions for farmers and the people who love them about how to help manage their businesses and increase their net income.
No farmers, no farmers markets.
That's right. No food, no beer, no farmers markets. All those things happen if we don't support our farmers. The strongest markets also value their food makers. I mean, that's what really lets us compete with grocery stores. One-stop shopping. So we'll be getting some expert advice about ways to make all kinds of producers more successful, from packaging, pricing, and display techniques to knowing how to build a better market strategy.
And I know we'll be showcasing some silver linings that have grown out of 2020's challenges, with some great ideas that developed while markets were adapting, and that will add value to markets from now on.
That's one of those silver lining things. We had to figure out how to adapt, and so some great ideas that we might not have taken on quite yet, we were forced to plunge into, and now our markets will be better.
That's right.
We're going to stir that pot a little bit too, because I do like stirring pots.
You do.
You too. It's a cat favorite.
So we're going to have not a debate exactly, so we know how those go, but a chance to hear some diversity of opinion on some issues. I'm having some fun putting speakers together right now for that 5 ideas, 10 opinions session. We know that there's a lot of things where we're all on the same side, but there's some other things where market managers each see things a little bit differently. So it'll be fun to hear what people think.
For sure.
Yeah, and speaking of diversity, we've got some great information on how to support Black farmers and food makers and nurture businesses owned by people of color, and some specific things we can do to diversify our market boards and teams. That's something that's really been a topic of conversation this year. It should have always been a topic of conversation. We're excited to keep that conversation going and push into the new year. We're not going to, back down on a lot of the things that have really come to the surface in terms of diversity at farmers markets.
Exactly. Bring that into 2021. Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons during the conference time, the Farmers Market Coalition will be digging deep into nutrition incentives, EBT and SNAP, and ways those programs benefit not only the recipients, but the individual farmers and food makers and the markets as a whole. We're really excited that FMC is joining us this year with a full slate of ways to make your market stronger, and we really love working with them.
We do.
Yeah,
that's going to be a nice partnership, I think.
I think it'll be a great session, too, because market managers and farmers and food makers always have a lot of questions about using those incentives. So it'll be nice to just get everybody in the same room talking about it.
Yeah,
For sure.
especially this year, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've got really good insights on how to get some financial support to make sure that you can do things like market match and programs that provide extra incentives. So they're the perfect group to kind of take the lead on that topic and let us know what we all can do.
I'll be taking notes.
Okay, that was a lot. Maybe we don't need to put the schedule online. We've already covered it all.
Kidding.
Kidding.
Another really exciting aspect of our conference in 2021, March 15th through 18th, live online,
March.
is that we have some different registration levels that the virtual aspect of our conference has allowed us to do. So this is definitely a silver lining that we're experiencing. It's just the different online things that we can offer. So if you registered at the Learn and Grow level for this coming year's Intense Conference, you'll be getting a full year of valuable content in addition to the conference, all the different sessions in the conference. So with the Learn and Grow level, you will become part of our Farmers Market Pros membership program, and that will be kicking off on the 4th of January. So starting the 4th, you'll be getting monthly emails with a bunch of really cool stuff in there. You'll be getting the members monthly message. So make sure that if you registered for that level, or if you plan to register for that level, that will be included. So you'll be seeing tips and tools throughout 2021, recordings of the conference sessions, and just really interesting stuff that we're coming up with throughout the new year.
It's awesome. That's really what makes the Learn and Grow registration level such a great deal, and it's even more of a score at the early bird pricing. So
Which has been extended.
It's been extended. Remember to get that. I love a good early bird. That level also includes some extra conference swag, so be watching in your real life mailbox. Tangible mailbox for that soon, and you'll be able to participate in some more intimate Q&A sessions, which I know people love that. I find that really helpful.
Yeah. The Listen and Learn registration level is kind of a better bargain if you're budget conscious, and you want to go that way. It doesn't come with those extra year-round benefits, but it's a great way to get full access to all the conference presentations and to the resource lounge and networking at a really affordable price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you want to participate, just not get all that extra fun stuff, but you just maybe your budget is slim this year, as we can imagine.
They all are.
Yeah.
For that Listen and Learn registration level, if you only want to come to one day, there is that option. Obviously, we want you there live online with us all 4 days, but if your schedule is super tight, there is the option to be able to just register for one day.
Yeah, so that's handy. So you'll want to keep an eye on the schedule. Once you register for that Listen and Learn level, we'll be in touch with you to figure out which day, if you've only chosen which day, one day that you want to participate, and we'll line that up for you. I'm really excited, though, about the big tent packages this year. Yeah. So managers who want to bring their assistants and their farmers and vendors along, this year's virtual conference makes that really easy. So, in the past, if you wanted to bring your whole team, first of all, could the whole team take that time off at the same time?
Probably not.
Right. And so this year, there's no extra plane tickets to buy. There's no hotel rooms to reserve for each and every one of those folks. And the Big Tent package includes that year-round Learn and Grow registration for you, whether you're an association leader or a market manager, and then you get special pricing on Listen and Learn access for 9 or more of your team. We'll work out a package deal for you if you want to bring a bigger team. If you've got 80 vendors still hanging in there and you want to bring them all, bring them all.
That'd be amazing.
We have some market collectives who are using that Big Tent package to bring all of their members, and that's fine too. So some state associations are passing on producing their own conference this year because honestly, this online thing, it sounds like it'd be easier, but it's kind of not. It's different.
Yeah.
It's a challenge in different ways than the in-person conference is. So some of those associations are just deciding to bring the whole gang to Intense and not have to do that whole learning curve of how to produce an exciting conference online.
Yeah, and if you are part of a collective or a group of people and you kind of have an interesting arrangement, or you have more people and you kind of want to work out some sort of big tent deal, but maybe the 10 people doesn't work, please contact us. We're happy. We want you all to be able to come. So reach out to us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com and we can help figure out a creative way to customize that package for you so you can all participate.
That's a nice thing about working with a small team. Family business is, we're great with the one-on-one stuff. This is not a stamp it out of the machine kind of deal.
Exactly.
We're here. We're real people.
That's right. All of that will happen, of course, again, in March.
March.
March 15th through 18th.
Isn't March 15th the Ides of March?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, I wish you hadn't said that. I think that we're well caught up on our Ides, actually.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
We've had a whole year of
We're turning the
Ides.
tables on the Ides.
That's
We've
right.
reached our quota.
Yes.
That's right.
My son is mildly obsessed with mythology, so it's important dates.
That's good.
But yes, it'll stick in my mind. And it's nice that February is that weird, like, perfect 4-week month because now we can just go one month later.
Exactly.
So it's still the
It's
15th through the
easy.
18th. It's just a different
Yeah.
month.
The numbers didn't change.
Yeah.
15th, 18th, but March.
March.
Yeah.
March forward.
We're marching into it. We're really
Oh
gonna
my
pun this
gosh.
up.
This is going to give us such a good puns opportunity because March is way more fun than February when it comes to wordplay.
That's right. All right, well, what else are we up to this year? We're expecting 2021 to be amazing, right? Please? Or at least way less weird than 2020.
Yeah, I
That'd
feel
be great.
like way less weird than 2020 is a pretty darn low bar to be setting. But, things are still unpredictable, so it's good to go with that.
Yeah.
Hard to get too specific about what we're expecting.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult to set goals or to kind of look ahead in that traditional, like, what's coming up? And, when we don't know what things are going to look like. But I think that's kind of a good thing. It's like we can't rely on kind of these cliche, everything is so shaken up that it's like, okay, well, let's set some new goals and that are relying on these kind of like benchmarks of this time of year you do this and this time of year you do that. So what are some personal or professional goals that you guys have for the year besides pulling off an amazing virtual conference in March?
That's number 1 in March.
That's fun.
Just hanging in there is a really good goal I have.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Actually, in December, my cell phone broke and I was forced off social media for a little bit. For about a week. And it was kind of nice. I very much enjoy social media and I enjoy the benefits of it. But I just realized that I really needed to fine tune what I was paying attention to on social media. So once I did get my phone back on, I went through and cleaned up my timeline and cleaned up who I was following and cleaned up what I was posting. And I know it sounds kind of silly to say, but we all are on social media. So, most of us. So it really helped me kind of clear my mind. And I think I'm going to take that into the next year. We had some really intense family stuff happened at the end of the year. And so I also kind of stepped back from social media just to kind of be with family in real life. And it was just gave me some clarity, what do I want to get out of it? And I started following some accounts that can really help nourish me and grow me professionally and that I can learn from and that give me tools to learn from and not just glam and kind of fake life stuff, so just kind of making that and I just kind of let some friends go that weren't serving me anymore and just trying to get with my people more via social media because we can't be in person and I can't go do these things in person all the time. I feel like it's been an important change for me to focus on what am I consuming online and make it purposeful.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, it's been really nice following some cool parents that are doing some great things with like home learning, which is a big part of what my life is right now with my boys. And then just other farmers markets. Just found some really cool farmers market accounts that I can follow and really learn from, and people that are using social media for their business in a like really dynamic and different way. And I'm excited for 2021 to just like make that change, just because it is a big part of my life. It's part of my job. It's part of what keeps me connected to friends and family. So using it better, I think.
Yeah.
So
Using it more wisely.
Using it more wisely. Yes.
As opposed to the doom scrolling thing that I think I got into for so much of 2020.
With the pandemic and the election and all that stuff, the doom scrolling was like really consumes your life. So I think, at first I was like, I'm just going to cancel all my social media accounts. And then I was like, no, because it really, you can get so much benefit out of it. So just doing it more on purpose and not, sitting there scrolling and getting, panicked and upset. Going after, following those accounts that really can provide you with insight into things that are important to you professionally or personally. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a big goal for me for 2021. And then the usual, taking care of my body, which I did do a sugar detox. And if you know me, you know that
you've been doing really good. I mean, I only see you here and there. I don't know what you're doing.
I swear. Yes. Well, my husband's been good about not being very like tiptoeing around like, make sure you're not eating that without making it sound, trying to be supportive but not make it sound like I shouldn't, that little fine line. But I've been doing really well, and like I just realized that I was just treating my body horribly. So
doom scrolling of food.
Doom scrolling my food, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
We were saying this morning, it's been one of those years where you're playing the 2020 card about everything. So it's like, I'm going to eat this stuff that I know is not good for me, but it's 2020 and I've got a lot of issues going on.
Yes.
I feel like I deserve something to make up for all the things I'm missing. So I'm going to eat the sugar. Or I'm going to eat, in my case, it's typically more salty, carby stuffs. But I'm going to watch that this year.
Yeah,
that's a personal goal, to get back to. I'm surrounded by really amazing, fresh, tasty food, like all the time.
Yes.
Farmers right there. And so processed food is got to go.
It's got to go, yeah. And I've been, really enjoying cooking. It's become a big part of my life. And so the farmers have been really sweet and like, here you go,
Give you some
Bridget.
guidance.
This is how you cook this, when they give me like really simple fruits and vegetables.
And that's good. I mean, that's one of the wonderful things about farmers markets is that. And that's a good thing to concentrate on as a market manager or a farmer or a food producer, is remembering that probably one of the biggest obstacles is there's a whole generation, I won't mention who's kind of grown up not cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, even mine, because my mother's generation was so excited about processed food that a lot of times we didn't grow up with those kind of skills.
Yeah.
I got into the restaurant business, so I learned it, but I didn't learn it at home.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom, but, I don't want to out you on this, but really didn't learn it at home.
I think Grandma knows that she doesn't even have a stove at her house. So
I don't have a TV. My mom doesn't have a stove. Yeah. She covered it with a countertop, so my husband calls it her wood-burning stove.
She made eggs one time for my cousin, I think in the microwave, and we were all very impressed. We talked about it all the time.
Yeah. So I like to cook, and when I'm not rushing around trying to cover everything and so grabbing something that's already made, I remember how much I love cooking.
Yeah.
And we have so much good fresh food to deal with. I really want us to make farmers markets the default for more people this year. That's kind of one of my goals.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that we just don't talk about them enough, and we assume that everybody knows that the farmers markets exist and that they're here every week, and not everybody realizes that. Not everybody's paying attention. So I want to make sure that we talk a lot this year about farmers markets and the advantages of farmers markets, and encourage more people to come on over. I mean, it's still a really tiny percentage of people that uses farmers markets as their primary source of groceries, even though I think we picked up some this year.
Yeah, exactly. I think
it seems like it's grown. Our audience is excited and engaged. But I was reading this article on NPR the other day that was like kind of this like update of how to shop safely in the pandemic, now that we know everything that we know now that we wish we had known in March and April. And it still didn't mention that farmers markets are a safer way to shop, and I was like shaking, me and my like liberal, sitting at home shaking my fist at NPR, all upset. But
I'm surprised how many people leave it out of the conversation.
Yeah.
Even food people. I'm constantly looking at speakers for our conference and people to join us on the podcast. So I read every food book that comes out, and every book I pick up, the first thing I do is go to the index and look for farmers markets. And so often they just forget to talk about them. It's really frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good goal for this year, making what we do not so niche.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah. And it's kind of sometimes, the opposite of what we talk about. Really honing in on your audience and making sure that, have the specific view. But this year, expanding the audience and trying to get the average person into the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because we have a lot of average folk, not, not that soccer moms aren't average folk, but the stereotypical customer at farmers markets, that's a teeny fraction of who we see. We see people at all income levels, and we have a lot of diversity in our markets. And so anybody can make use of a farmer's market. And I think we need to remember to bring that into the conversation more and to push other people like NPR to mention that too.
This podcast.
I'm sure they are.
And being lumped in as an essential business at the beginning of the pandemic, saying farmers markets are in the same category as grocery stores. I know a lot of people were like, huh? Like, what do you mean? A farmer's market is a festival. And then it started kind of clicking like, oh, a farmer's market is a grocery store. So really pushing that, like, yes, we're an outdoor grocery store. Like, get that into your mind.
Remembering our roots, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In an outdoor grocery store that offers really even more amazing things, because we have local artisans and we have local food makers and things like that. But at its heart, it is where you come to get your groceries.
Yeah.
So really kind of driving that home for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the personal side, I'm planning to develop an actual formal meditation practice as opposed to some of the little tricks that I use in my mind occasionally but don't do consistently. I even got a book for Christmas called Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics.
That's you.
That is you.
Wow, someone's got you pinned.
Right?
Someone wrote that book for you.
So I'll be working on that, making that a daily focused thing, because the people that I know who meditate, it's just so advantageous and it's so simple. You don't need to do it for an hour. You can do it for a little bit of time and have huge benefits.
For sure.
I mean, I'm reading the book. I'm not as skeptical as I used to be. There's a lot of actual studies that show how good it is for you to meditate. And heavens knows, we all need a little focus and calming in our lives after this year, right?
Yeah.
I feel like 2020 was just like the year of scatterbrain, and just everything's changing day to day, and it was hard to kind of like sit and focus and make a plan. 2021, although I don't think everything is going to magically disappear and go back to normal, I think it'll be nice to...
Birds will be chirping and tying our apron strings. I'm counting on that.
A couple more days. Can't wait.
Let's go. Ring the bell. I feel like this is very Y2K.
Right?
Yeah.
Except like in the opposite way, where we all thought Y2K was going to be like this big doom and like apocalypse was coming, and then nothing happened. Now we're all thinking like it's going to change and everything is going to be happy and back to normal, and we're going to fly off to France.
Probably nothing's going to happen.
My parents had a Y2K closet.
They did?
I ever tell you about my Y2K closet? Yeah, it was like packed with like batteries and like dry goods.
Yes.
Okay, this is very Y2K then, because we're doing that again.
Yeah. But then for a year, like, we always just called it the Y2K closet. And then I'd be like, hey, Dad, where's like, whatever, batteries? He's like, check Y2K.
Where's the crank radio?
Yeah,
the Y2K closet.
I feel like a lot of us have 2020 closets now.
Oh, yeah. My whole house is...
Yeah, right?
My husband's always been a prepper, so I've been ready for this. While everyone was scrambling around, I'm like, I'm comfy. We're good. We got the water buried in the backyard.
Right? For sure.
Shout out to Peter.
How are you, Justine? Any personal goals?
Personal goals. Well, I feel like this year I started cultivating some like hobbies that I always wanted to dive into, but I either didn't have enough time or I was like scared to take the leap. So I started sewing a lot this year, which has been so fun, and of just like a cool creative practice that I always wanted to do. So my goal is to keep doing that. And
you've gotten into some really elaborate kind of sewing
I
that you hadn't done before. Was it the mask that kicked it off?
Well, I had taken a sewing class a couple years ago at like San Diego Continuing Education. It was like a free sewing class. But then, honestly, sewing masks, it like really kind of like honed my fundamentals of just like sewing straight lines and like getting to know, like I had to fix my sewing machine and a couple of things like that.
Yeah.
So my goal this year is to not buy any ready to wear clothing.
Oh,
so if
that's a great goal.
I am like a clothes. I'm a Libra. I freaking love to shop. I love to shop. So my goal this year is to not buy any ready-to-wear clothes, but if I want something to either make it or to buy vintage. So it's kind of like
that goal.
like a reduce, reuse, recycle type of thing, a way to just have a more sustainable life, and also just to, put my money in more valuable places.
Yeah.
Smart.
So that's
like
a personal goal. Also, I did a lot of work on my yard this year, which it was a nightmare like this time last year, but I redid a bunch of stuff, and I put together some planter boxes, so I just need to finish the irrigation and then I can start planting things. So those are my two personal goals.
I have peas on my pea vine this morning. Oh. I'm really excited. I turned out to be, I got into gardening or vegetable growing especially, over last year's craziness. It's hard to get motivated to do that when you're a farmer's market manager, because it's really easy to just go to the farmer.
Yeah, and then you do this a lot better than I do.
I also think it gives you some incredible empathy for farmers when, a rat eats your tomatoes. It's very annoying. And then I thought I was kind of a fair weather farmer, because when it started to get cold, and not as, cold in San Diego terms, but still.
It was raining today, legitimately.
It was raining. Hard.
Like 30 seconds.
It's so pretty out now. But I kind of drifted away from it a little bit, and then we had a lot of family stuff, and I got away. But this morning, I got up and I went outside, and there's peas on my pea vine.
Well,
and I'm so excited.
Meditation.
That's right. Checking out the garden. I love it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And one professional goal is, obviously pulling off our new virtual conference, live online March 15th through 18th. But also, a huge accomplishment this year was finally getting Vendor 101 online.
That's true.
Yes.
I feel
One of those silver lining.
To pat ourselves on the back and realize that was years in the making. But my goal for 2021 is to help y'all get Market Manager 101 online.
That's
and
right.
using a similar format, this really nice go at your own pace online class with videos and all those resources. So I think that's a really good goal for us to accomplish this year and get it out to all of the market managers that have been asking us again and again for years.
Right.
No, I'm really excited to do that, and I feel really
too.
focused and dedicated to getting that done.
Yeah. And now that we've done it once, now that Justine dragged us.
It wasn't that hard. It
wasn't
was a
that
few
hard.
late nights in the office.
It was a few late nights.
Yeah, getting home at 9:30 with a burrito and
Yeah.
Like all of those things you procrastinate that you build up in your mind, and it takes you months, or in our case years, to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, and this took 40 minutes. So,
Exactly. So now that we know, we have a better idea of that. I think we can get that Market Manager 101 off
Yeah, I'm
the
excited
ground.
about that.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, the online course has been good. Obviously, we were pushed into it because we couldn't do in-person classes anymore, but we've been talking about it for years because it gives us the capability of reaching people outside San Diego.
Yeah.
And we'd had so many questions about it. So that's exciting, and I'm really excited to do it for market managers.
yeah.
For sure. Excellent.
Yeah, well,
Anything
those
else?
are
I think that's it.
that's
That's
some
what
good
we got
goals.
today,
Some
right?
good goals, ladies. We got it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep connecting with all of our listeners too. That's been really great this whole time, and so just taking that into 2021 for sure.
Yeah, that has been one really, really awesome thing about this year is just continuing to have those conversations on our Farmers Market Pros group on Facebook. And I know that we, especially when the pandemic was hitting farmers markets really hard at the beginning, where everyone was scrambling to just figure out a way to stay open or to reopen or to launch their new season. It was so valuable to be able to connect with all of those different people across the country and share tips and tricks. And I just feel blessed to be able to be part of that conversation and to, that we have our audience that we do, that we're able to share all these tips. And I was actually talking to one of our fun listeners and one of our conference goers from last year. I talked to her on the phone the other day, helping her figure out what registration level, and she was just saying how she listens to us every week, and it just gave me the warm and fuzzies knowing that there are people on the other side of this podcast listening to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
And thank you, Thomasine.
Yeah.
my phone broke, and so Justine had to take over.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she's
good.
like your little pen pal.
I know, I love it.
Phone pal.
I'm my phone pal.
No, and I had a call last week from a few days ago from a market manager struggling with a huge challenge. And it's funny the way the conference and the podcast and our online group has developed these really good relationships. I know I'm not the only one that people call. They've found resources in each other. And sometimes you just need another market manager to help you think through how to respond to something that's weird. Because we've had weird challenges this year that you've never had to deal with before.
Yeah,
so it's
very
been
bizarre.
great to have that village to back us each up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Make that stronger in 2021.
We're thankful for all of you. Thankful for you for listening.
Yeah.
And hope to be able to see you all live online in March.
That's right.
Yeah. And happy 2021.
Happy 2021.
Let's make it a good one.
Very
no
right.
matter what.
Yeah.
Farmers markets are all about community, and all of us, operators, farmers, and vendors, keep learning. To learn what's happening from people just like you in various parts of the country, or share what's happening in your area, we have terrific conversations and people sharing resources over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. Please find us there, answer the 3 qualifying questions, and join the group. You can also message us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros or send us an email at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. If you're just getting started in farmers markets, check out our Vendor 101 online course. And to go deeper, register for our annual Intense the Farmers Market Conference, live online, March 15th through 18th, 2021. Learn more at farmersmarketpros.com. Thanks so much for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcasts, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss our next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market Podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni-Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll have another great episode next week. Tune in.